Welcome to Lobo Castle Productions. This is Cooking at the Castle with your host, Denise Antico Donlon.
I'm Denise Antico Donlon, and welcome to Cooking at the Castle. So we're here to start our new cooking series that's going to go along with our brand new cookbook that I just came out with called Cooking at the Castle Seasonal Dinners. It was inspired by our dinners we've had here at the castle, and these recipes in our book are some of our favorite. So just a little history, my background: my mom is an amazing cook. She taught me to cook when I was 8 years old. My grandmother, she used to come for summers. My dad would buy 100 pounds of flour, and she would be rolling stuff out constantly all summer long, and we would be eating, and she'd be going, "Manja the food that your mama makes." So all summer long, and by the time she was gone, no more flour. Now I want to show you something my mother taught me, which is pizza. She makes the best pizza in the world, and maybe you'll meet my mom later in the show. But I'd like you to learn how to make asparagus pizza, because this is spring, and that's the first recipe in our book. So let's get started. Okay, so let's shave our asparagus. So what you want to do is you want to pick your thicker asparagus, because you see this one is really thin. You're going to get a lot more out of the thicker version. Just hold the end of it, start about 3/4 back, and just shave it on one side, turn it over, shave it again until you can't shave it anymore. Just break this off and put it in your bowl. Simple, and all you need to have is it's a peeler. So right now I'm trying to get lukewarm water. You don't want the water to get to be too hot for your yeast. That's a good tip to remember. So we're going to go ahead and put the yeast in with warm water, and then I'm going to go ahead and put a little sugar in there. That's going to help activate the yeast. So it's kind of a cool little tip to remember. And then you got to make sure that you mix it up. And then once it activates, you're going to see some bubbles starting to happen. So we just need to wait a few minutes for that. So while we're waiting, let's go ahead and put our flour in here. So it's 3½ cups of flour. That was 1 package of yeast, or 2 teaspoons of dry yeast if you have it in bulk. You don't want to add the salt yet, because the salt, it messes with the yeast. So you kind of add the salt at the end. So let's get some cold water. We need 1 cup of cold water. Okay, we're going to put that in here. And we're going to get this going while we wait for the yeast. So just in case you don't have one of these mix masters, don't worry. I mean, Grandma didn't make it in this. So just get yourself a stainless bowl, glass bowl, put your flour in, put your water in, and your yeast, and just mix it all up. Once it starts to form the ball, that's when you're going to add the salt. And then you're going to just roll it out the same way we're going to do right now on the wood table or whatever tabletop you've got, and knead it for like 2 to 3 minutes. So now I have the yeast. It's bubbling. It's great. So we're going to go ahead and add that to our mix master, which again, you could just be added to your bowl. And we are going to keep going until we start forming a ball. Now this is the section that you know, maybe you need to add a little more water, maybe you need to add a little more flour. Well, I'm looking at this going, we need more flour. So, going back to my flour, and I'm just going to go ahead and start putting some in and letting that mix up. And we're going to go ahead and add a little more. Now we're going to just keep mixing. You see how it's come together as a ball? I'm going to go with just a little more flour. And then we're going to let that go for about 4 minutes. Okay, so now we're going to put the salt in. So again, it's at the end, so it's fine, it's perfect. And I want to talk a minute about the salt. So I use real salt opposed to fake salt. But no, real salt is from Utah, and it's amazing. If you haven't seen their products, they have organic salts, and they are pretty amazing. So okay, so let's get this going. We've got all the salt in there, and we're going to go back to our board. We're going to get some flour, dust this off a little bit, and then we're going to dump this right onto it. Come out of there, you. And then we're going to knead the dough for just a minute. It's not really necessary to go crazy and knead it for 10 minutes or anything. You just want it to be nice and pliable. And the most important part of kneading the dough is that when you get to a point where it's done, you poke your finger in, it pops back up. So we didn't pop back up fast enough, so we're going to keep going. I have this really good kneading story. It's not about pizza, but we were making pasta and making it the old-fashioned way, where you make a mound of flour and then you put the egg and everything in the middle. And I was teaching a class on how to do this, and one of my students just broke a hole in the little thing, and the eggs went everywhere. 1 egg per cup of flour. Oh no! Catastrophe already! But we salvaged it, and we were able to knead it and get it all together, and she had beautiful pasta. So now, you see how that looks? You see how fast that pops back up? So that's what we're looking for. And now we get our bowl, which is right here, and we use our olive oil, and I just kind of twirl the bowl around and do that, and get it all over the bowl, and then you put this in, kind of roll your dough around so you get olive oil all over the place. And I think I need a teeny bit more, so I'm going to just put some on top. You don't want your dough to crack. So what my mom always says is you have to, like, you know, treat it like a baby and keep it nice and warm. So to add to this, we're going to also take a towel and we're going to cover it up like so. And this helps it stay warm. I mean, grandmas, I've seen them like pile towels on towels to keep it warm, but it's kind of summer right now, so it's fine. So we're going to leave that right there, and it's going to rise. And see the dough. See, it's all risen. It's beautiful. And now we're going to make some pizza. So we're going to get rid of this flour because we don't need that right now. But we're going to take this and we're going to put it out onto our board. Now this is more than I need for one pizza, so we're going to cut this in half. There we go. And I guess I do need a little bit of flour. Okay, we'll set that one over there. And we're going to do this. Now, you can take a rolling pin and roll it out, actually. Let me get some flour on that. Actually, I think I'm going to take this and actually put it back in the bowl. So we have our room. So I'm going to use my circle pan. Mostly when I make it at home, I use my half sheet pan, but we're going to make it fancy and round this time. So you just want to keep pushing it out, like so. We're going to put some oil on our sheet, so we're going to show you that right here. I'm going to make sure that goes everywhere because we do not want it to stick. And then I'm going to pick this up. Again, kind of keep flapping that down. Plop it on your pan. And then really, you just want to keep pushing it out to the ends. There's no rocket science to it, really. You're just, pretend you're playing with your dough when you were a kid. And you just want to push it out all the way to the end. This way, all the goodies you put on it are going to be nice and safe in the middle. And do you see how easy that was? No problem. Okay, so I have about a pound of mozzarella that I bought at the Italian deli the other day. I like to buy Polo, but you could buy any brand. Sierra is good as well. I like to fresh grate it because it just tastes better that way. When you buy it already grated in the bag, it loses some of its taste and freshness. You'll notice the difference, I promise. So it's worth the extra effort. Grate it yourself. All right, ready to go. Okay, so I just want to show you, because I mentioned it, this is the half sheet pan that I normally make pizza at home in, which is why you would then need the whole recipe, because you could see it's much bigger than doing it in this small round pan. But let's go ahead and finish. So we're going to sprinkle this with olive oil. Go ahead and brush it on. You want to make sure it gets all the way to the end. Another thing that you can do, because you do have leftover pizza dough, is you can put this in the freezer. You could put it in the refrigerator and do it tomorrow, but you just want to make sure you wrap it nice and tight so no air gets in it, and you can keep it in the freezer for at least a month. So now I've got the green onion. I picked this in the garden a couple days ago, so it's nice and fresh. This is going to top your pizza at the end after it comes out of the oven. So we've got that going, that's good. I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle some salt on there. And I'm going to put some pepper on there. And then we're going to sprinkle it with, this is my Romano cheese. My favorite cheese, by the way. And if you haven't had it fresh ground, again, I buy it in big chunks and I grate it myself because the flavor is amazing that way. Very different. Now we're going to go with the mozzarella. So we're going to put that over nice and even. I don't like to over cheese so that you have too much. So we're going to just leave it about at that. And then I'm going to throw a little olive oil, because you want to season like everything that you do. It's always going to be better. A little salt, a little pepper. We're going to mix that up. This is our shaved asparagus that we did earlier. And now we're going to put this on the pizza. So no rhyme or reason. Again, just throw it on. It's going to be amazing. Try to get it so it's not too overlapping so that they all cook evenly. But look how pretty that is. You know, you could always, you could even top it with some red pepper, get some more color in there. You know, from here you just be creative, because creativity in the kitchen is where it's at. All right, let's get our pizza in the oven. Here we go. So my oven is on 500 degrees. Hotter the better. I have my stone down here, so it's nice and hot. It's trying to recreate like what a pizza oven is inside my oven. And we're going to cook that for about 10 minutes. And now we're taking it out. Oh my God, look at that. Is that not amazing? Look at the bubbles, and we got that. And wait, this is the test of tests, guys and girls. You got to get that crust. You see the crust? That's what you want to see when your pizza's done. Okay, so we're cutting our lemon, and we're going ahead and squeezing it on the pizza. So, by the way, this gadget is the best. You should have it in your kitchen. No seeds to worry about ever. Now we're going to go ahead and take our beautiful onions, sprinkle them on, as many or as little as you like. And then this is one of my favorite tools. It's from Italy. It's what I love to use to cut my pizza. And speaking of Italy, I'd like to introduce you to my Mamma Mia. This is Florenza Antico. She is the master pizza chef, so I'm a little nervous, but she's going to be our taste tester right now. So there is our first pizza.
Thank you. I get to taste it. Yay.
Yep. Oh my God, I'm waiting. This is tense moment.
This is good.
Yeah?
This is good.
Perfect. How's that crust?
Molto bene. The crust is perfect, inside and out.
Well,
Molto
okay, so
bene.
now we know we have
Very good.
success. So really,
Outdoing me.
no, never. That can't happen. But try this at home. Don't ever be afraid to try something new. That's what it's all about. Look for our cookbook, Cooking at the Castle. It's just been released. Go to cookingatthecastle.com, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks. So this is so good. You know, the trick is to shave the asparagus. That's how you get it to
It's
taste so
amazing.
good.
This is amazing.
So while we were waiting, we decided to go ahead and use the rest of that pizza dough, and I made another one with some fresh tomatoes from the garden and olives, herbs from the garden, rosemary, oregano, mozzarella cheeses. So we're going to cook this one next.